All right. Hello, Emerson. Tell my audience about the story of your film, A Great Divide.
Yeah, so Great Divide is about a Korean American family who moves to Wyoming in search of, more opportunity for some college strategy. And, it's about them assimilating, facing trials, tribulations, assimilating into this new environment.
Right, in Wyoming. And tell people who plays your dad.
Ken Jeong plays my dad.
All right. And what was it like to work with them?
Oh, Ken's the best. I mean, like every time I see him, it's so funny. We're just constantly doing bits or cracking jokes. Like last night, um, yeah, we didn't even watch the film because we've seen it a couple of times, and so we're just in the green room, just like talking, cracking jokes, just talking about life. But no, he is amazing on and off set. I mean, as funny as you see him on camera, think of that like double off camera because he's constantly doing jokes and it's constantly making the environment and vibe on set just so fun.
Okay. And would you say he taught you to be a better actor through example?
For sure. I mean, I see the thought and like, the care that he puts into every single line that he says. Like I've seen him interact, with directors or even like me talking about, like this makes sense. How does this feel and this and that? And it was like, okay, I'm getting into the mind of, one of the best comedians out there alive right now. And really seeing like his process and how he deals with things. Like he has a really big monologue in this film. And he actually said last night that it's his most proud piece of work that he's done as an actor on this film actually. And I remember seeing him that day, like from hair and makeup chair at 8 a.m. to the point where we shot at like 2 a.m. And it was like it's amazing to see, his work ethic, his process, and how focused and determined he is.
You also worked with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, he's so funny. I love JC. Yeah, we did Darkness of Man together. We shot for like a month and a half, and he's just he loves it. I don't know. It's just so fun being on set with him because he's constantly like he makes these like really like dry humor jokes, and then he just goes up and beats up a bunch of people. And my role in the film was like he's just defending me the whole time. So I'm
Yeah.
like kind of sitting there in the car, like, oh shit, like well, he's like beating all these people up. But no, he's such a badass. I mean, all the stunts are performed by him. He did have a stunt double, but for like the crazy stuff, but like all like the martial arts, that's all him. He actually one take he was like getting kicked by someone, and this guy was kind of scared, right? Because it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. So he like lightly taps him. And he's like, no, like kick me. And he like keeps doing that 5 times until this guy's full on like kicking him. He's like, oh, and he's like, boot, boot. And then he's like, roll. And then we're like, oh my gosh, we're already filming. And then he's a really cool person to work with.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that movie. What's Darkness of Man about?
Yeah, so Darkness of Man is surrounded by me and Hatch. That's John Claude's character. And so it's about me and my mom and my dad passing and him kind of viewing himself as a father figure to me during this epidemic of, drugs and gangs. And so it's kind of about whether or not, I join him on his like, more just path or, join my heritage, my roots, my family in like more Korean gangs. And so it's like kind of me navigating that, him saving me like dozens of times, and kind of our relationship and our dynamic throughout all that, all the trials and tribulations.
All right. And so the A Great Divide takes place in Wyoming. I
Mhm.
think the last movie I saw set in Wyoming was The Hateful Eight, and that was a pretty scary movie.
Mm.
Have you had like scary interactions with rural folk like your character did in A Great Divide?
I actually did after we filmed, actually, like a few months
Hmm.
after we wrapped. I was in that same town and there was some interactions that were pretty questionable. But, I mean, my approach towards those is always have like empathy, sympathy for people just not being as, educated or like knowing the effects of that. Um, but yeah, no, that town, it's a lot of it was no set dressing. It was pretty crazy some of the things that we saw and that we encountered.
That's unfortunate because I remember that restaurant being kind of there's like a restaurant scene in that was that made up? I hope that's made up.
Oh, no,
No?
that was we didn't do anything to that restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like all the close-ups that you saw of like the different slogans or the different stuff, like it was all real. And Ken actually
Whoa.
about that last night at the screening as like one of the most shocking things was that like we were in this environment and he would look around and he just like between takes he'd like start actually crying and it was so so kind of sad to see that as a reality for a lot of people, but I mean that's why we're making this type of film, to shed awareness on a lot of those issues and bring light to or give a voice to underrepresented voices who have trouble speaking up for themselves in these scenarios.
Okay, yeah. So you're trying to start a dialogue with the Great Divide.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
You're trying to start a dialogue with this movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. And who is your all-time favorite actor?
Oh,
Dead or alive?
dead or alive? That's a great question.
Like,
Wait, why am I forgetting his name? It's the This Is Us actor, African American.
this
Um,
is us. I'm gonna look at. I have a phone. I'm not sure if I know. This
an
is us.
unknown.
Let me see. We're gonna get it.
Oh my gosh, wait, why am I actually?
Sterling K. Brown. It's Sterling
Sterling
K.
K. Brown. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sterling
Appreciate
K.
it. Yeah,
Brown.
Sterling K. Brown's one of my favorite actors. I think his performance is so powerful and he's so direct with his choices and distinct. And I love everything he does. It's so good.
That was great. We had a voice of God just intervene and tell us what it is.
Yes.
That's great. That's funny. Um, so you've worked with some very cool people, and how long have you been acting for?
I've been acting for 14 years now. So since I was
Whoa,
5. Yeah.
jeez. Okay, so you got some experience. You know some things. So what's something an actor should keep in mind before entering the business?
I think just understand how volatile and rough it is and how much rejection you're going to face because it's inevitable. Even, I mean, my friends who have done like amazing projects are still struggling, to find work right now. And so just like have that expectation coming in. But, I always, I'm a firm believer of pursuing your dreams and doing whatever you want to do. So go all in, but just know that it's really difficult and there's going to be a lot of difficult times.
All right. Well, that's good. Give people a reality check. What do you think people will most like about A Great Divide?
I think just the family dynamic, like that sense of like unity within a family, it's kind of like them against the world and they're just, there for each other, supporting each other. And I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. And a lot of people can find comfort in that even in scary scenarios or, messed up situations, you have the people who love you, who are beside you. And if you have that, then you can get through anything.
Emerson, thank you so much for your time. It was a lot of fun talking to you today. Do you have a final message about your film, either film, A Great Divide or Darkness of Man, that you want to end this interview with?
Yeah, give it a watch. They're both great. Darkness of Man is on Apple TV Plus. Great Divide's getting released VOD November 26th, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Prime. Or you can always just follow my Instagram, Emerson Min, and there's a lot of updates on there, and there's links to everything there. So
All right, amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
thanks so much, Michael. Have a good one.